Hey there! Welcome to SkyGems Academy podcast. At SkyGems Academy, our vision is to build a community of new generation leaders with strong core values, high level of self-awareness, high self-worth, and passionate individuals who will give back to the community and the environment. We are focused on delivering high-quality blended online learning of 21st century life skills delivered and taught online, practiced and perfected offline. Our philosophy is to inspire, educate, and nurture. We work towards inspiring and igniting sparks. We listen, we coach, we fine-tune and accelerate the mastery of 21st century life skills for various age groups. Our blended learning programs are curated from the early years to above 60 years old, as we believe in providing high-quality, lifelong learning for everyone. SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1: How COVID-19 Transformed the Education Industry. We will take you inside the minds and behind the scenes of 40 exclusive leaders and educators in the education industry. We've interviewed 40 exclusive educators and leaders in the education industry worldwide, starting with China, where the pandemic initially started. You will hear from the leaders in the education industry sharing candidly their views on the possible changes that will take place in the education industry post-COVID-19. Be sure to tune in to SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1 to listen and learn from the amazing stories, experiences shared, challenges faced, and techniques used by educators in different cities and countries to adapt and overcome their challenges personally as well as professionally in their respective roles in the education industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let's dive into SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1. Introducing to you our host, Alyssa.
Hey guys, it's Alyssa. Hope everyone is keeping well. SkyGems Academy Podcast is a passion project that my team and I kicked off in early 2020. As we are all facing the unprecedented events and experiences impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, we find that there is an urgent need to unite the global community of educators and leaders to progress forward together. Our main objective is to create a platform for all global leaders and global communities to come together to document these historic moments for our future generations. SkyGems Academy Podcast is a platform for everyone from all around the world to share, listen, learn, communicate, collaborate, and come together to network and help one another to pull through this very challenging period that has impacted the global community. In each episode of SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1, How COVID-19 Transformed the Education Industry, you will find yourself immersed and engaged in in-depth discussions and thought leadership in various aspects of education, technology, humanity, diversity, disparity, and collaborations in the education space. Our distinguished speakers also shared interesting stories, techniques, information and experiences with regards to COVID-19 pandemic and its impact to each speaker and to the education industry. We trust that you will find great value, insights and learnings from our 40 exclusive speakers in each episode of SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1. We are very grateful and sincerely appreciate each and every one of you who has motivated us, encouraged us, contributed in your own very special ways, especially our 40 exclusive guest speakers from all around the world. A big thank you to all and a big shout out to all of you. I am pleased to introduce you to our charismatic and distinguished guest speaker for SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1, Episode 10, Marika Toivola. Here are some key highlights of Marika's outstanding track records. Marika Toivola, MA, is the most well-known Finnish pioneering flipped learning teacher. Marika is engaged in groundbreaking and award-winning work to enhance mathematics teaching. She has been awarded the Mathematics Teacher of the Year in Finland award in 2019. In 2013, the Technology Industries of Finland Centennial Foundation gave Marika an incentive scholarship and recognized her efforts in promoting open access learning materials. Today, Marika is one of the most sought-after Finnish trainers of flipped learning and formative assessment. Her books, Flipped Learning in Finland and Flipped Assessment, A Leap Towards Assessment for Learning, have encouraged thousands of teachers to join her in the long-term development of their own role as teachers. In addition to her teaching work at lower secondary school in Teacher Trainer School at Turku University, Marika is pursuing a PhD in Education Science at the University of Helsinki. Her doctoral thesis focuses on teachers' agency and identity in flipped learning, and it contributes to existing research knowledge in two ways. On one hand, it helps understand the process of conceptualization of the phenomenon of flipped learning, particularly from math teacher perspective. On the other hand, the study is contributing in particular to efforts at promoting a change in the teaching of mathematics. Marika has started her doctoral dissertation to become a better teacher. In her books, she justifies theoretically that which she has brought into practice and not the other way around. Marika is a mother of 4 school-aged children, and she is passionate about ending the homogenization of both students and teachers. She does not give praise to the current performance-oriented focus in schools, where there is no room for failure. According to Marika, children should be educated to meet the needs of tomorrow. The future requires courage and creativity that will differentiate people from machine intelligence. I quote and unquote Marika Toivola. In flipped learning, teachers, we act like a coach of learning. So for me, online learning is offering every opportunity to do much more than in normal education. Now, let's tune in to SkyGems Academy podcast episode 10 for Marika Toivola's podcast. Let's go. Welcome to SkyGem podcast. Today, we are very honored and very pleased to have a very special guest all the way from Finland, Miss Marika Toivola. Hi, Marika. Welcome to
Hello.
SkyGem podcast. A very good morning to you.
Morning to you also, and thank you for asking me here.
Thank you, Marika. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Marika. I'll pass over the mic to her to introduce herself. Marika, over to you.
I'm doing PhD about flip learning, and that's really is my passion. And I'm now off duty of my work as a teacher trainer or teacher training school of Turku University, where I am a mathematics and physics and chemistry teacher. And I started to flip my class 2012. And since then, I knew that there is something amazing in flip learning, and I really wanted to understand pedagogy and what will happen teachers when they start to flip. And today, I have honor to be Math Teacher of the Year in Finland 2019. So I can say that I have traveled a long journey, but I think I have reached something amazing as a teacher.
Congratulations, Marika. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so glad that you are here to share your views, your experiences with our SkyGems podcast listeners. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marika. With the recent pandemic of COVID-19, would you be able to share with us where were you during the period of breakout, and also how do you feel about the current situation?
I am here mainly at home because I'm doing my PhD at home, and it's quite abnormal because all my teaching sessions have cancelled. So my social life is quite minimum here and actually sad. And it shows quite clearly how important this normal rich life is, what we have in every day.
It is very disruptive. Indeed, I think different parts of the world at different time, every one of us are going through different phases of COVID-19 in our respective countries. Definitely a not easy time at all, very challenging. And for you, Marika, understanding that you're in Finland, how's the situation in Finland when it all started off? Would you be able to share?
In Finland, children have been out of school and their hobbies for 2 months. And 2 weeks ago, they returned to school. But the situation is still abnormal. And I actually have 4 children between 11 and 17 years old, and they have been at home, of course, in this remote learning situation, and somehow disturb my work, of course. And there are times I have felt like I spend most of the time in the kitchen and fooding them, and I should do my work.
It is a big and constant juggle, right? Every day we are juggling with different things, with work, with children, with family, with keeping the house clean, keep putting food on the table, making sure we have enough groceries going around for the family and all. So definitely very challenging period. Thank you for sharing that, Marika. Really appreciate that. Besides those that you mentioned on time and also juggling, what other challenges that you are facing or faced during this period?
I think the most challenging thing is, or what I'm looked in my kids' remote learning, is that they seem not to know the goals set for their education during the remote learning. In Finland, the Finnish curriculum emphasizes student activity, collaboration, and growth in self-regulation. And students are seen active participants who set goals for their learning and takes responsibility of their learning. And it can be said that it is more important to learn how to learn than what to learn. But still, I see that the most important thing during this remote learning has been to do exactly those exercises that teachers have given to students. And my role as a mom is just look after them and that they are really doing what they have to do. And I have quite mixed feelings about this because I see that students should be more motivated and take more responsibility for their learning and things like that. And I see that we are really missing the point if the kids don't know the goals and the criteria for the good performance and what really are the objectives of their learning and how these criteria will be applied to them. So I have missed this kind of conversations during this remote period.
I guess not easy, especially when the pandemic hit. I assume in Finland, the education system has to take a hit pretty suddenly. The home-based learning program just have to kick off immediately. Is that what happened?
Yeah. And as a whole, teachers have taken huge digital leap and they are quite proud of themselves. And I think they should. And I'm happy on that they are really now have some experience on online learning. But I think also that this is that way very important experience for teachers, and that quite many have said that they really don't know what the students are doing, or they feel that they have been even more contact with some students, or they have seen more like individuals via online learning than in-class situations. So they have important experience, which will need to be raised up and have a conversation about this professional development, that what should we do based on this new experience.
We all learn, isn't it? We all learn on a day-to-day basis, especially with all this new environment that we are put in. So yeah, definitely not easy a task ahead of us, but I think everyone is trying their best to make the best out of the situation we are in.
Yes.
Marika, thank you. Besides that, what are the changes that you have made in terms of the challenges faced? What are the changes that you have made to be able to adapt to the new environment? Any new things that you make to be able to adapt?
Actually, I don't know how to answer this question because I'm doing mainly in my PhD work, and sometimes I just worked very late or very early. I wake up very early in the morning before my children are waked up so that I have some time when they are not disturbing my work. But on the other hand, I would like to help them even more because I'm a teacher and I'm home with them, and I would be happy if they would ask more about mathematical things from me and so exercises where they are suffering. But there are quite little that kind of moments. They really haven't known what they should do and what they assume to be done. And it's just that I see that, okay, you have done all those exercises. And I miss that kind of conversations with teachers, of course, but perhaps with also my own children, where we really pushing hard of mathematical thinking and etc. But there hasn't been that kind of situation.
I see. And for you, it's really trying to adapt to the whole environment by looking at your own time and rescheduling your time, whether to sleep late or wake up early so that you have your own time during those period to do your own work. And the kids are awake, you can then help them out and take good care of them too. So those are not easy tasks and also challenging things to do to juggle everything at the same time. So really, really appreciate of your sharing and we all learn from you, Marika. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
And the challenges that you face, plus the changes that you made during this COVID-19 period, what are the most important lessons that you have learned? Would you be able to share with the listeners?
Actually, I'm quite very inside of this kind of new teaching because of flip learning. And in flip learning, teachers will act like a coach of learning. So for me, online learning is offering very opportunities to do much more than in normal education. And when I have followed these social media conversations, it's been happy to see that there are new teachers taking part of conversations and they are sharing their experiences and they are asking help. And that kind of view that I'm already an excellent teacher or very good one, that kind of conversations has disappeared. All the teachers have rise to a level where they really want to get better professionally, and that's what fascinates me more. And there are now really that kind of seeds planted for professional development where the teachers would change their profile and their identity as a teacher. So it's quite common in Finland also that teacher will just handle groups of students and it's mainly deliver of information and how to use information and etc. But there are quite little focused on individuals. It's the problematic when teachers think about that, okay, I should see individuals and if I have them quite many, for example, 200 in a class per week. So how can I see every one of those? But those conversations we don't have anymore. And the attitude is changed that I really need to see those students and there are problems. One problem is that perhaps I can't see every week, everyone, but at least I try to see them. And that is hard in flip learning and it's something I really like what's have happened in this unusual time now.
It is, isn't it? It is a very unusual time that we are in and challenges that we face. Some are new challenges that we are all not familiar with at all. So it really takes a lot of courage, a lot of tenacity and a very positive mindset to overcome them. Well, thank you for sharing, Marika. I really appreciate that from your perspective. In your view, in the education industry, how did COVID-19 change the industry? And in your view, what will take place after COVID-19 to change the education industry, or it is already changed? What is your view?
I see that flip learning will be a new boom of education, or it's already is, but a new teachers are found it already. And I think that those teachers who have used flip learning and worked for student self-regulation, the transition to remote learning has been easier because the students have already learned to take responsibility for their learning and they have learned to collaborate with classmates and they have learned to use their classmates in learning. And I really believe that this experience will change more widely teachers' roles from so-called traditional teacher to more code for learning. And I see that when teachers understand that what is the role of digital media or digital tools. They really understand their roles as a teacher also. So when teachers' robotic actions are automated with the help of technologies such as learning videos, the teachers have left more time to focus on students and observe what they have learning and give help whenever the students are needed. And I think this is much more rewarding for the teachers than just deliver information, because when students ask you questions and they really need your help and you can go there, you have big experiences about success and you really know that I'm helping these students now here. So I think that what we are valued as teaching is changing because this unusual time.
That is really refreshing to hear, Marika, your views about the future of education industry. Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. In the current situation we are all learning and also trying to adapt and change our ways of living. What would your new normal gonna be like, Marika?
The new normal would be that all those things which take too much time in the class, they have put, for example, in learning videos, etc., so that the teachers can focus on students as individuals, and teachers will learn that they really need extra time to do something more, even more important for students' learning than what they have done in previous times. Because somehow I wonder that before teachers have this kind of experience, they might feel that online learning or digital things are replacing them. And they have questions that what I do now, what is my role now when I have already kept my lessons and made those videos. And now then when they have experience, they understand that, okay, there are a lot of things that I haven't seen before. There are a lot of problems, and what is the main or most important thing for the teachers is to see learning problems. And I'm also saying that those teachers who are flipping and saying that, oh, I don't have any problems in my class, I will always say that, okay, perhaps you are flopping or doing something very wrongly, because the hard in the flipping is that you are seeing the problems and you have taken time to repair the problems with students, because the learning is difficult and the learning is really hard work and it takes time, and students really need help in learning and not really the things that you are saying how to learn these things, because these kind of things you can replace with digital media, etc. But you can never replace the person who knows you and who feels you and you are giving you emotional support and help you believing yourself as a learner. And I think that this kind of things will be a new normal in class. This kind of soft skills, I would say.
Yeah, these are soft skills, but very essential life skills that we all need to have. And this is clearly very important in the day-to-day lives and also in our lives as we go on. But thank you for sharing that. Really good to hear from you about your new normal moving forward. Thank you, Marika.
Thank you.
The future generations will really benefit from this, and I'm sure they'll like to hear from you. What would your message or messages be for them, for the future generations?
I would say that don't hesitate to challenge previous teaching and learning practices and schools' structures. They are quite old ones, and sometimes they are just need to be challenged. And I think the most important thing for the teachers are to see learning, or at least try to see learning through the eyes of the students and help students to become their own teachers, like Hattie says. And these kind of things helps to educate students to meet the needs of tomorrow. And I would also say that I don't like the current performance-oriented focus in schools where there are no rooms for failure. Rather than fear mistakes, we should encourage students to make them. If mistakes are not allowed, it is quite difficult to encourage young people or teachers to try something new and unique and make them love learning and teaching. And of course, it's quite difficult to encourage students to make mistakes if there are this kind of assessment systems where the mistakes reduce the maximum points and things like that. So we really need to rethink the assessment systems also. And that's what I'm hoping for them, that they really have encouraged to challenge not only learning, but also assessment systems. and understand how important growth mindset is and how it is supported. And you can't support growth mindset if you're always fearing that I will make mistakes.
That is very nicely put there, Marika. And I myself was listening in and taking in all that message that you're sharing with the future generation. Is so real and so important that all of us try to make a change and have a growth mindset and learn new things, and do not be afraid of making mistakes. And what is most important, if with mistakes, we all have to learn from them and grow from that situation and be a better person, improve from there. So thank you, Marika, for sharing. What an amazing conversation that we had. Thank you so much, Marika, once again for your time. We are very honored and very, very happy to have you on SkyGems podcast episode today. We really look forward to staying in touch with you and continue to collaborate with you. And we look forward to meeting you one day once everything is open up. Looking forward to seeing you, Marika. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Sounds perfect. I really want to meet many new colleagues who share the passion and to make the change in education and assessment and everything. I really, really appreciate that you have asked me to take part in this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Marika.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode at SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1 on the topic of how COVID-19 transformed the education industry. We trust that the podcast episode has provided a whole lot of value and insights to everyone who tuned in. If you enjoyed today's episode and you love the vision and mission of SkyGems Academy, can you please help us to convince others to tune in to SkyGems Academy podcast too? Please kindly subscribe to SkyGems Academy podcast. Please also kindly leave a quick review and rate SkyGems Academy podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Breaker, and various SkyGems Academy's podcast channels. That would mean the world to us, so thank you so much for your support. Visit our website at www.skygemsacademy.com to find out more about our distinguished speakers and about SkyGems Academy. We appreciate you and your continuous support. Thank you for tuning in to SkyGems Academy podcast. High five and peace out.